Am I the asshole for not trusting my mother-in-law anymore? I, 28 female, have never had an issue with my mother-in-law, 68, before, and actually thought that I was pretty lucky in the mother-in-law department. Until recently, that is, when my then boyfriend, 28 male, now husband, and I was going to announce our pregnancy to our parents, my mother-in-law surprised us and said she already knew. Because I was sending out signals. I wasn't showing her anything, so I thought it must have been a small signal that someone who had been pregnant themselves would notice. And she refused to tell me what I had done that gave it away, and said I would just not do that in front of her next time. But no hard feelings. It's the first grandchild for both families, so the joy is never ending. A couple of months later, my boyfriend and I decided that we want to get married. But we don't really want fancy parties and decided to just invite our moms out for dinner and then accidentally visit the courthouse first and then surprise them. After the wedding, my mother-in-law again said that she knew, and I was the one who had given her the signals. I was choked because I had not spoken to her at all, other than inviting her out for dinner to celebrate the baby's gender. The rest of the day went well and was filled with joy, but I did notice my mom, 58, and mother-in-law whispering a lot to each other. When we got home, I went to my mom's and asked what it was all about. She's our neighbor. She said that I was not allowed to tell my husband, but my mother-in-law never logged out of his Samsung account when she got his old phone. So she can see our messenger conversation. I was furious. She has been reading me and my husband's texts for God knows how long. Every picture I had sent him from the scans at the clinics and pictures we send each other of ring designs we liked. I didn't send signals. I only texted my husband like every other couple does. I told my husband, and he wasn't nearly as mad as me. He was more mad on my behalf. And now I honestly don't know.
My heart's like racing.
And now I honestly don't know how to feel. I feel betrayed by a person I love and respected. And since I learned this, every little thing my mother-in-law does actually pisses me off. And I hate this feeling. My husband is asking if I want him to talk to her, but I don't want to have them at each other's throats. But one thing I know is that I will never trust my mother-in-law the same way again. Am I the asshole?
Are you the asshole for what? Nothing. What?
Not trusting my mother-in-law anymore.
No, absolutely not. What? Oh, that literally had my heart racing. That is so invasive and so wrong. Are you kidding me? Like, even if I don't know. I just like couldn't do that to somebody. Like, even like curiosity, whatever. I just like, if I was the mother-in-law and like I saw like a few messages, I'd be like, oh, and then I would log out. I can't imagine that. It's so fucking invasive. And I just don't understand like how the husband's not more upset. Is he just like, I'm like, did he do it on purpose? Was he just used to his mom like reading his text messages as a kid and it makes him feel safe? Like, what is going on?
I don't know. It's almost like from the live show with the mother-in-law that kept like bursting into the bathroom. Yeah. And so the girl was doing like weird poses every time. Mm-hmm. And then the husband was like, well, so what if she sees you naked? She's family.
Yeah.
And it kind of gives that same vibe where it's like you'll make these excuses for family, but if this was a friend or anyone else breaching this level of trust and privacy,
yeah, instant
done. But because it's family, you give them more of this pass. I don't know.
People say like, I was just talking about this yesterday, so it's funny that this comes up, but like there was a TikTok that my friend sent me and it was like, would you rather have people have access to see anything you have ever searched online in your entire existence?
No.
Yeah, they like everything, like just that's all out there, public information. Or would you have like you and like one of your closest friends or like closest people that you've talked the most to about everything, have that be like out like as like a script where everyone could read absolutely everything that you've ever said?
These are two terrible options.
Horrible. Horrible.
I vent way too much.
Right?
Way too much.
I honestly don't know which one would be worse because there's like, and it's literally in the existence of like the text string conversation too.
Well, now I'm thinking about my Google searches.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But it's like there's been times in my life where I have, texted things when I was like in a really bad like headspace, like just being really angry.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what those things are. I couldn't even tell you, but I just know that there's been times where like I was so frustrated and I'm like venting to somebody. And so it's like, I wouldn't want that to like be like a book, just a manuscript.
No.
But like also like there's weird fucking things that I like have Googled too. So I don't.
Well, like what's the cutoff age? Because I think about like when I was like 13, I definitely Googled like homemade sex toys.
For all time.
Yeah. God,
time.
I think I'd take the conversation.
It's hard for me. I think I would do the conversation, but at the same time,
I was a very curious kid.
yeah, I don't know.
There's some weird shit there for sure.
It's tough. But with that being said, it got me thinking. I was just kind of like, what have I texted? I can't even think of anything specific right now, but I just know that like in the past of my entire lifetime, there's been moments where I'm sure that I've texted things where like out of anger, you know, I didn't even like mean it, but I'm sure I've said things that I wouldn't want to be just out there. And so hearing this story is so triggering to me because it's like that she just completely took advantage of a couple. It's not even like friends, it's a couple. Like who knows that they were sending back and forth like sex pictures with each other.
That was my thought.
Yeah. And like talking dirty to each other, or like her sending something like very, very vulnerable and personal that only she's discussed with him. It's like that. It feels so wrong. And also what I don't like is that her own mother said you can't tell your husband this.
Yeah.
What? So we're just going to continue
That's exactly
to let
who
her.
you need to tell.
Exactly.
I think she just fears the
She doesn't
mother-in-law,
wanna get
the
in-
repercussions of
Right.
like, well, you're the only one I've told, so that must be you. That blew my fucking crazed shenanigans.
But if you found this out about like your daughter, if you found out that your daughter's mother-in-law was doing this, wouldn't you immediately be like, what are you talking about? I'm not going to keep this a secret for you. I'm going to tell them right away.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
I wonder how she even admitted this to the mom, because it's like, you know, I actually knew they already got married because I'm logged in a little Jeff's phone. I see everything.
Is this person's name Jeff?
No, I just first name that popped in my head.
It's ironic, considering that's my
I was looking at you. I don't know what came up.
God damn it.
But I was actually going to say Jimmy, and then I was like, it didn't roll off the tongue.
There we go. Okay.
But it is an interesting thing to admit that level of like deception and disrespect. It's weird that she was almost like bragging about it.
Yeah.
Because that's how I envision this happening. But there's a couple responses from OP. Not the asshole. You can't possibly trust her. This is the most grotesque invasion of privacy imaginable. How long did your mother know about this, and why didn't she tell you? My mother-in-law told her on our wedding day, and my mom told me the same evening. And then someone else basically asked the same thing. Not the asshole, but why didn't your own mother tell you as soon as she learned what mother-in-law was doing? It might be best for you and your marriage to move far away from both mothers and make darn certain no one else has access to any of your accounts. OP responds, my mother-in-law is ... how do I say it? Convincing and talking. She fills the room with talk as soon as she walks in. My mom is 180 degrees from that. So they get along because my mom doesn't talk much. In my mom's defense, she was about to call me when I went over to her house instead. But she wouldn't say it when my mother-in-law was there because she knew I would be sad and didn't want that for my wedding day. Like this literally happened at their after
insane.
wedding celebration dinner.
Yeah.
Like I don't blame her mom at all.
Yeah.
Like to tarnish that moment with this.
No, that makes sense.
No, I think that's fair.
And I don't, it's not about the timing thing. What I brought up, it was more of the fact that she asked her not to tell her own husband.
That is still weird. Like I think you can say like, hey, I'm gonna tell you this. I know you're gonna tell your husband, but like, please, let's just like act rationally. Like I don't want it to come back and bite me in the ass.
Right. Well, and it's hard to tell somebody too, like if you're telling someone like, hey, please don't repeat this, and it has to do with like them or like their life or something that doesn't have anything to do with like the actual person, it's absolutely fair to expect them to honor that.
Yeah.
But it's like if you're telling them something that has to do directly that affects their life, and then you're like, but keep it a secret. Like, how can you expect somebody to do that? That's not a fair place to put them in. Like,
no, you cannot ask someone that. Not especially something like this.
Yeah.
I am so scared about like people recording me. I always think about that. Like, and I don't know what it pops into my head at the weirdest times, but I was like, I was at Justin's mom's house and I was like changing or something. And his mom would never do anything like this. But like my head, I mean, I think about it everywhere. Like Airbnbs, hotels. Yep. I'm always like, what if there's a little camera?
Same.
Like, ugh. And I was just like, I was getting dressed and I'm like, well, this is her office. Like, what if she had a work camera and it was accidentally turned on? Like, And then I see videos on TikTok about people who find hidden cameras all over their Airbnb.
Oh my God.
It looks like a normal outlet, but it's actually a recording device.
So fucking creepy.
Like, what? And I just saw this one where these people were switching through the channels of their hotel, and on one of the channels was a camera showing above a toilet.
Oh.
And the manager of the hotel couldn't figure out where it was coming from. No one could figure it out.
Oh my God. I hate that. And that's what's scary. It's like with all the technology, it helps people solve mysteries and like save lives, but it also like creates this really creepy fucking dynamic that's really hard to control.
Yeah.
Because it's like, who is stopping people from Airbnb, like in Airbnbs, from doing that? Like, and it can be so sneaky these days. You can put it in a fucking teddy bear. Like and
yeah.
But I do think about that a lot too. Like if I'm at someone's place or something and I know that I'm home alone, and I'm get out of the shower and I like quickly like run to grab a towel because it's not in the shower, then I'm like, what if they have cameras in their living room and I'm just naked running around? Like,
well,
it's innocent as that, you know?
No, and so many people have like cameras these days for their dogs.
Exactly. That's my point. Not even to watch me, like friends and family that I'm just like, well, what if they have one for the dog? Like,
you just don't know.
Yeah.
And my friend Jordan does have a camera in her living room for her dog, Harlow, which like I think is a really normal thing. Like so many people have those cameras that like disperses treats for their dogs and all this stuff. I think you should
notify people though. Like if you like are leaving them like home alone in your home, like be like, hey, just so you know there's a camera, so don't like change in the living room because I'll see it.
Exactly. How would you proceed forward if this was your mother-in-law?
Oh, I honestly don't know because it depends on what the relationship is from the start. Like, is she someone that you can actually get through to? Like, is she someone that has shown a history of comprehension, as we talked about?
I wonder.
So it's hard, and it's really hard if your husband doesn't care. Like the fact that he's only mad on her behalf, that makes it even more difficult. And do they need to like change their password, or can they go sign out on her phone? Like, do they need to take the phone back? I don't really know how that works.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of things nowadays, you can see what devices are signed in and you can either sign out all or like sign out specific devices. Yeah. I don't have a Samsung, so I'm not sure about that one, but I know with Apple stuff you can really well. Google you can. So Netflix. I imagine you could. Password changes also trigger that sometimes automatically. But
I mean, I would have to. It's like if I wanted to have a good relationship with her, it's like I would have to talk to her about it. Like, you completely crossed the boundary from me and I don't know what you were thinking, and it's going to make it really hard for me to, like, you lost all trust. Yeah. And like you're going to need to like work on building that back up with me, because I would never do that to you, and I just can't believe that you did that to me. Like
so you'd confront her directly?
Yeah. Unless she was like some like awful, like I'm telling you, like if it was something where I just felt like there was a complete dead end, like there's no chance I was gonna get through to her and it was not worth my time, then I think that I would just create like a separation, like as much as I could. But I wouldn't want that. That would not be ideal, because I want my husband to be close with his mom, and I would not like feel like at odds picking like me or his mom. I would never want that. So I would hope that the mom is like well enough, I don't know the word for it. I just hope the mom would be able to receive the conversation and understand, and not just like be on her high horse and be like, I didn't do anything wrong. You did something wrong. You're the one who didn't log out. You know what I mean? Like,
I think that's the reaction.
We have more?
No, I think that would be the reaction. Just for the fact that she's been doing this for so long and has no remorse. She's telling people in a way, I don't know what way, but so like
wild. How do people think? And like maybe that's just like a generational thing where she doesn't. I don't know how anyone could think that that's okay.
I don't know. A lot of people have ideas on what to do. There's a lot of people that are like, you should use this to your advantage now. Like, start texting stuff to like throw her off, or like really like kind of fuck with her. And so someone goes, send your husband a text. Tell him your friend just told her mother-in-law has secretly been reading all the emails and texts between herself and her husband. Say, can you believe that? What kind of person would violate someone's trust and privacy like that? How hurt your friend is, how she's now thinking about keeping her mother-in-law from meeting her grandkids because she can't trust her and you don't blame her. How thankful you are that nobody in your family would ever do something like that to you. So painful and violating. How your friend said if her mother-in-law had admitted what she had done before getting caught and stopped immediately, she would have forgiven her. And you agree with that sentiment and find it admirable.
Oh my God, this is hilarious.
It's made you realize you don't take data security as serious as you should, and then request your husband contact the phone company and email company and make sure nobody else has access to your accounts, since that's a thing they can tell if requested. Have your husband agree with everything you said, and keeping the grandkids away from them is a good call since they've proven they can't be trusted, and that he'll contact the phone companies ASAP. Then see what happens.
That's honestly fucking hilarious. It sounds a little too obvious, but then again,
I like it.
no, I'm saying like I feel like the mom might be like, oh wait, they caught on.
Yeah.
But I love it. I do like it a lot.
I know. Someone is like, or send him a text telling him the baby isn't his.
Oh God.
And then someone goes, so you're literally suggesting that OP gives her mother-in-law a totally false reason to hate, malign, belittle her for decades to come. Great idea.
Yeah.
Couple other people. This one has an award, so it's got the fancy little red box. Not the asshole. And I would send a text that blatantly says, quote, honey, now that we know your mother has been and is continuing to read all of our private texts, I just want to send a message to follow up on our conversation about how she has irrevocably broken our trust and single-handedly destroyed my relationship with her with this absolutely shameless and grotesque violation of privacy. I am no longer comfortable having her in my house, and I will be nothing but honest about why our relationship has fractured with anyone who asks.
Yep.
I am, of course, not going to stop you from having a relationship with her, but this text will be the last thing she hears from me until she is able to offer a genuine apology and explanation for her actions. And even then, I am not sure if I will have the wherewithal to welcome her back into my life. As you know, I am incredibly hurt and disturbed by this. Also, can you pick up some milk?
Honestly, that was the best one.
Yeah.
That was the best one.
People are kind of pissed at him, too. This is another Red Box award. You have a serious husband problem. The fact that he wasn't as pissed as you is a massive issue.
Yeah.
If you want your relationship to last, you two need couples counseling. He needs to grow a spine and let his mother know that what she did is a massive breach of trust. This will only get worse as time goes on and you have kids. You really need to deal with this now. If my husband wasn't as pissed as I was about this particular scenario, I would be having serious second thoughts about our marriage.
It really does confuse me. That was like one of the first things I said.
Yeah, and it was worded really interestingly. It was worded in a way where,
hi, where are you going?
Of course, I told my husband and he wasn't nearly as mad as me. He was more mad on my behalf.
Right.
Which, that is interesting because the mom is doing the same exact thing to both of them.
Yeah.
But because, again, it's almost that parent pass where it's like, well, it's my mom. Like, I'm mad she did it to you, but if she did it to just me, it'd be fine. Because that's just one conversation.
Yeah.
She's got access to everything. You don't just have access to the one comment thread from the wife. Like,
right.
She's gone through all his stuff. So he actually has
Should be
more
more
reason to be mad. So it's interesting.
Unless he's just one of those people who does not text at all. So he just is like, there's
nothing to see here.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But even so, it's still like, it's not okay. It's so interesting. I don't know. I can't imagine like a scenario where I wouldn't be upset.
I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
I would be really pissed and really frustrated and hurt and just overall feeling deceived.
Yeah.
Not good.
Oh, hi, Holly. Guess that spot's better.
She's a funky dog. I'll give her that. She's a funky little thing.